is, could the 3 or 4 towns come together and work together and then integrate with such groups as our regional response team, the Hazmat team, the decon team, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, the 11th Civil Support Team from the National Guard. All of those groups did come together, and working together is what this is all about.
This type of a drill, this is what we call a weapons of mass dissection Region 1 drill. This drill has actually encompassed the state, the southern part of the state, with York County and Cumberland County and other resources throughout, as we stated earlier. With this, this is a drill that has to be done annually, and in this case we're combining the 2 counties to give the best possible training scenario. Some of the logistical issues that we could potentially have at something like this are getting all these resources in on any given day, getting the personnel in. Again, we are a volunteer squad, so those personnel typically have full-time jobs and are working out of town. Along with that, you have the natural issues of multiple towns working together, 5 or 6 towns in this incident working together for one desired outcome. Here we've come together in what we call a unified command, where we're all basically working together to solve the problem.
I think it's right now is we're looking at specifically a straightforward, nerve agent that needs isolation, identification, and then some kind of remediation.
The 4 phases of emergency management are your mitigation, your preparedness, your response, and recovery. And it takes all 4 phases really to deal with an incident. And the mitigation part can start way before an incident, and that is basically looking at what is likely to happen in a community and what can you do to reduce or mitigate the situation. And of course, preparedness is what we do all the time with trying to get the message out to homeowners, businesses, schools on what they can do to prepare for when an event takes place so that you have some form of readiness. And then of course, response is the part that we're very used to, and that's the red lights and sirens and blue lights and cruisers going and dealing with the incident, be it small or large. And then the recovery is the piece that takes place afterwards to bring the community back to normalcy. It's the longest phase there is, can go for a year, year and a half, depending on the size of and the magnitude of the event.
It's all part of Homeland Security. If you look around, a lot of the vehicles and such that are here today, some of them have actually come from grants and such like that. The vehicle that's behind me came strictly from Homeland Security funding. That vehicle is entirely funded with Homeland Security money, and it's not the only one on this premises with this purpose.
The funding for this comes through Homeland Security, and there has to be a weapons of mass destruction venue involved. One of the reasons that we go these drills is we're required to. So that's why we do the hazard materials drills, is to demonstrate the ability to suit up as you saw them do in the level A suits, which look like something from outer space. Those are fondly referred to as a body bag with a window in the vernacular used by the folks that wear them. You are actually inside of a very thick Tyvek type suit with it's all put together in one piece, boots, gloves, the full ensemble with the face piece. You're wearing a Scott air pack or a self-contained breathing apparatus inside that suit. And you are literally at somebody else's mercy to get you back out of that suit again once you get in. If you're claustrophobic, that's not the place you want to be. They're about $1,200 a piece for the suits. They have to be tested once every quarter. They have to be air tested, which is part of the Hazmat team's program. Put air to them to make sure they don't leak, because you don't want anything infiltrating the suit while they're in there. And they work within that. If you've ever tried to pick up a dime off the floor with a pair of work gloves on, multiply that by about 10 times, and that's what you're trying to do with that. These folks are supposed to be able to use wrenches and tools and so forth while they're in that suit to take pipe apart or to tighten the valve or whatever. It takes a lot of training and dexterity to work within that level A suit. The other part we wanted to test was the meters, going in and metering the product. And there are certain things you can use to give you the readings of a real product, which we did. And they wanted to go and use those meters because we carry them every day. But thankfully, we don't read real material on those meters every day. We don't want to. But you have to know how to do that, how to set it up, and how to go in and do that.
Today, it's a simulated drill. We know what's going on today. We know what type of agent that we've got going on today. So it's a little bit easier to hone our skills and to proceed in the best possible manner that we need to do to isolate the incident.
The drill went extremely well. The local agencies responded outstandingly. You do have that capability within your community, within York County. The citizens are well taken care of with those specialized teams that can handle hazardous materials and weapons of mass destruction.
Just to spot them.
Make sure everybody gets a hand up. Is everybody ready? Ready! Wait!
Just a spotter.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
We really appreciate the opportunity to get this type of information out to the general public. The general public, as we do frequently, out of sight, out of mind, and we've gotten to, well, it happened once, it won't happen again, and it can't happen in my backyard. I think we all like to think of that. We live in Maine. It's a great place to live, and the big city is going to have the incident. I am afraid I can't share that total feeling. I'd like to think so, but I don't have that feeling. I think we all need to be prepared. And the preparedness goes across more than just for weapons of mass destruction. We've had 2 floods in the last several years, major floods. And then we've seen the lack of preparedness across the spectrum of folks that just don't think it'll impact them. And we all need to keep that in mind. We all need to keep that water and some extra food and some pet food and things like that, where we can respond to that type of an incident and pick up and leave our house if we have to for an incident. And that's hard for people to grasp because we don't do it. I'm old enough to remember the Cold War where we all lived with the sirens and we went duck and cover under our desks and all that. And that was a way of life. We were trained that way. I was a young child at that time, but I remember very clearly when that siren went off in school, we went under the desk. We've gotten out of that because we live in a much more friendly society today, but we still need a level of preparedness for ourselves.